will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises, way hey, up she rises early in the morning.
How you guys doing today? I am Nick the Sailor and welcome aboard the next video. Now today I'm going to be talking about 7 hidden gems within the Generation 6 and before. So I try to keep it between, I try to keep it at PS2 and the original Xbox and before. I like to do retro gaming. So I got a list here of 7 games, and mind you I have 200 games. So out of the 200 I am a little limited on my options. To show off some of the games that I have chosen, some of these games you probably have heard of at some point, but there might be a few that you probably never heard of. And some of these games that I will show you that I think you probably haven't have a really good place in my heart, and I really love these games. So let's go ahead and start off with number 7, The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Now this is the only Incredible Hulk game, or the only Hulk game that I thought was even worth a crap. I thought it was amazing. It's a really fun game. Now in this game, like, it's got a storyline. It's got a pretty vague storyline, to be honest. It's kind of bad. It's kind of a bad storyline, but if you work around it, it's actually really fun. It's free roam once you get past the tutorial level, and it's a whole lot of fun. You can destroy buildings, you can destroy helicopters, tanks, cars. You can pick trees out of the ground using this clubs. It's all sorts of really nifty things you can do in this game, and it's developed by Sierra, which Sierra, man, damn, I haven't seen that name in a long time, but yeah. Anyway, so that is number 7 for the PS2. Now most of these games will be PS2, just letting you know. Moving on to number 6 is the Muck of Cry, or Cree, however you want to pronounce it. You know, I always wanted this game when I was a kid. I saw it in Game Informer. I'm not sure if they're, well, yeah, they are still around. What am I talking about? But I saw it in Game Informer when I was a kid, and I always wanted it. And you know, every time I talk about this game and I tell somebody like I always wanted to play the Muck of Cree or Cry, they're like, I've never heard of that game. So I finally got it about, I'd say, 5 months ago, and I played it for the first time. I had so much fun with it. Like, oh my god. The controls are a little bit difficult. You play as the character Ryu or whatever, and you have a pet hawk. Is it a hawk? It's gotta be a hawk. A bird named Kuzo. I think it's a hawk. But anyways, so you can basically control the bird and go around. The bird sees ahead, so that way you know where your enemies are, and you can actually work your way around it, go into stealth mode and things of that nature, and just brutally just annihilating your enemies at the same time. But it's very, very challenging, because if you get spotted, you're pretty much dead on the spot. I mean, you're screwed. So that was a really fun game, very interesting, simple storyline, to be honest, but it's still a good game in my opinion. Now these will get better as we go up. Now at number 5 we have Flying Warriors. Now for those of you who have already seen from my previous video, I actually got this in an unboxing with VGM, or Video Games Monthly. And I actually never heard of this game, and the more I looked into it, the more I found that not many other people have either. So this is definitely a hidden gem that you definitely need to get, because the way you fight in this game, oh my god, it's just, I mean, the game mechanic in this is just, it's its own level. It's at its own level. The developers literally developed their own fighting mechanic. And it's never been done like that before or since, as far as I have found out. It has never been duplicated. So that's what really interests me about this, is probably the reason why they didn't sell too well is because of the picture on the front. And that's probably why they didn't sell too well. But I gotta say, once you get near the end of the game, I came to find out, depending on what fighting style you chose, or I guess whatever character or something, you actually turn into like a Power Ranger or something with these powers, like shoot fireballs and stuff. But yeah, that is a really cool game, especially if you can get all the way to the end. It is amazing. And at the very end of the game, once you beat the final boss, you go through like an entourage of different enemies that have different fighting styles, and you just beat the tar out of them with the fighting style that you have. So it's actually well done, very well done. Coming at number 4, if you define yourself as a Red Dead Redemption fan, but you don't know what Red Dead Revolver is, there's something wrong with you. There's no way around it. I mean, this game, there's a little backstory to this game. It was originally being made by a Japanese company, and it was going to be like a Western anime, and it was going to be really weird. And they just kind of scrapped it, and Rockstar picked it up from there, and it became what it is now. Now, in the storyline, of course, you play as the character named Red, and your whole entire life, you're basically growing up to be the fastest gunslinger there is, to take revenge out on the men who killed your father and your mother, who killed your parents. And at the very beginning, you learn the very basic mechanics of aiming in the game and things of that nature. And it's really interesting, especially with Deadeye. Or is it Red-Eye? I think it's Red-Eye. But anyways, the mechanic in the game is very interesting, especially with the other characters that you're going to play, like Jack Swift and whatever her name is. I can't remember his name at this point, but you play as a rancher that's a woman, and she has they all have different specials that they can do with their weapons. Jack Swift can automatically lock on to 12 areas on the body because he's got 2 6-shooters, and he just tears it up. And then the woman, the female, she has just one big old blast from her rifle that puts people on their ass. And Red has this slow motion-esque type thing, which is where if you played Red Dead Redemption, you get that in that game too. It wasn't something they thought of during the development of that game. It was something they already made in this game. And so a lot of people, believe it or not, do not realize that this is where it started. If we did not have this game, we wouldn't have had Red Dead Redemption. So I feel like this game has really not gotten the amount of attention that it deserves. And it's a really good game that about 2 months ago I actually found it and played it, and I actually beat it 3 times and unlocked all the characters. Like, it's just so much fun. So coming in at number 3 is one of my personal favorites, actually, and it's on the NES, and that is Nightshade. If you have this is complete in box. If you've never heard of Nightshade before, it's made by Ultra Games. Now, back in the time of NES, Nintendo would only allow developers to release 5 games per year, and Ultra Games was actually owned by Konami. And what they did was Konami made another developer called Ultra Games that was owned by Konami, so they could technically release 10 games a year. So if you ever see a game that says Ultra Games on it, which I have quite a few, that's actually Konami. That's really what it is. And the interesting thing about this game is that it set the basis for another game that was released the next year. That developers saw this game, they really liked what was in it, so they decided to develop a game that had a lot of the same aspects called Shadowrun. If you don't know what Shadowrun is, you haven't been playing video games. So it was what created the whole idea of Shadowrun. So that's really interesting about it. And this one in particular, complete in box, is usually about $65. I was lucky and I found it for a mere $25. And it has the instruction manual and everything, including the foam plate that's on the bottom and the sheath that it goes in. So I got lucky with this find, and it's the only NES game that I have complete in box. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Coming in, Nikki! Coming in at number 2, it's a game that whenever I mention it to anyone and everyone I've ever talked to, they have never heard of it. And that is Second Sight. Now, if you've never heard of this game, you're in for a treat, because this is definitely a hidden gem. And if you've never played it, you've never heard of it, go out and get one. Get a copy. It is definitely worth it. That game is so much fun. Now, what basically, you go around your doctor in this game, John Vaddick, and it's basically kind of like a time splitter-esque, only dead serious in a science fiction-y world, where you can actually, you have a combat situation where you can use firearms and such, and throughout the storyline you actually develop telepathic power. What is it? Telepathic or whichever one it is that you telekinetic powers. So you develop telekinetic powers in this game, and it gets crazy. The storyline is amazing. It's got a great storyline, and the mechanics of the game are just spot on. I mean, the controls are easy to learn and figure out. The gameplay is absolutely amazing, and the storyline is really good. It's even got a twist ending. So if you're really interested in games that have good storylines, good game mechanics and everything, Second Sight is definitely a must-have. That is a hidden gem in my opinion. Coming in at number 1 is probably one of my, if not the favorite game of all time that I have. And I played this game when I was a kid over and over again, and I beat it many times over. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's been almost 15 years and I still know what to do. I can pick up the game and beat it and know exactly where I gotta go. And that is Draken, the Ancient's Gates. If you've never heard of this game, you definitely need to get it. Now, this game, you are actually a woman in this game. That's the main character, is Rin. And you actually ride a dragon called Arok. And he is supposedly one of the last of a royal family of dragons that can actually speak English. That can actually speak. All the other dragons in the world cannot talk. So obviously when Arok talks in front of some people, they freak out and they're like, oh my god, a talking dragon, he's the last royal. And it's just, oh my god, it's amazing. Like throughout the entire game, you're trying to open up gates to stuff and everything. And to be honest with you, this is actually a sequel. Now, the first game that came out was only on PC. It never came out on console. And I just think it's so sad that they only got this game as a sequel and not a third and fourth. It should have been a franchise. It was amazing. Now, if you guys ever pick up this game and you play it, one word of advice. Before you go into the last territory, which is the desert territory, make sure you have all the equipment that you need when you're going into it. Because once you're in the desert zone, you can't get out. So yeah, Draken the Ancient's Gates, one of my, if not the favorite game of all time. I absolutely love this game. Go ahead and pick it up when you get an opportunity. It's a really great game. That's definitely a hidden gem. So that wraps up our first video for our new channel of gaming. Now, I hope you like this video. Don't forget to click that subscribe button down below if you haven't done already. As always, remember 22 and stay classy, bros.